know I'm going to say this to you. I'm going to ask you the questions, and then you're going to answer the right things. But for some reason, we still don't do it. You guys are all responsible here to, as leadership group, you're all responsible for holding each other accountable for the wellness of the office or the bigger team. Your goal is always the bigger team. What's the bigger team's goal? And then my team's goals, and then my goals, okay? So I got to think about what's the bigger team goal. So this is your order of priorities. The office goal comes first. Then your upline's goals, and then yours. Does that make sense? I'm just saying that because if you do that in that order, you are going to accomplish goals faster, okay? So if you're like, what should be my goal? If you don't have a goal, don't worry. Just first, what's the office goal? And what role can I play into this? You get it? Number two, if I know the office goal about, oh, we already hit it, then I'm like, what's my upline's goal? And what role can I play into this? My upline's goal is 5 for the car ride. What can I play into that? Have I hit it? And then, you should always have personal goals. Does that make sense? Do you guys follow? Yes. Okay, great. By the way, I'm not trying to impose something to you. I'm teaching, this is the trick. It's a team building hack. Okay, if your goal is to grow and build a team, when you reverse this, I've done this backwards. Like if you put your personal goals first, then you're going to come off selfish. I don't know why it works like that. Even if those goals are very selfless, you're going to come off like, well, these are my goals, and people are going to somehow repel, like two magnets, attract opposites. So you want to this is the way that it helps better. Okay, now we have situations that come up during the mornings because we're doing interviews, we're busy, things are growing. Hopefully, by the way, you guys are all the leaders, right? Hopefully, are you guys noticing a better trend of better people coming in for interviews? And please tell me, because if not, this is what we're really working hard behind the scenes. So, okay, so you guys have these stations that I think are a beautiful idea. Are they working well, by the way? You guys like them? Yeah. Stations are good? Okay. So we have stations, okay? And stations are run by leaders. So what was the station? I don't even know what was it? 2 stations for pest control? Yes. And what was the first one?
High rolling and
consistency. And rebuttals. Perfect. Great. And by the way, this is more, I'm sure we can discuss this more in depth, but what topic should we do for stations? This is more like a life issue, right? More than a field thing, I would agree. And then rebuttal is great, very specific. Okay, so you can run a station on that. Consistency, it depends on the person. It doesn't matter the campaign. That's what I meant, right? If I put Mo on pest control, he'd be consistent. Do you guys think he would be consistent? Yeah. He would, because he's just a consistent person, right? Okay. So now if I have rebuttals, okay, so you always want, again, and I was talking to some of the new people this morning about you have to check the fruit. You guys want to, and especially if it's you got to realize, you got to really help me here and not be offended if you suck, okay? You have to make sure if it's this is a sales station, and this is also a person that's hopefully selling, the person has to have sales on the board. You cannot have, Dawson had a rough week. He can't run this. And this is not, I love Dawson. You got to protect yourself because it's your team, and then it's the office, and then it's your own self. I've had many more bad weeks than Dawson. This is not Dawson's fault. Here's why I'm running this. It's because Kriti assigned Dawson to run this, but Dawson had not the best week. So Dawson shouldn't run that because he doesn't have the fruit. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And fruit is current, by the way. You can't, fruit doesn't stay on a tree for years. Does that make sense? It falls, it consumes, and again, right? So if I have a person that didn't do well on sales now running the station, what message am I sending to every listener?
The sales don't matter.
The wrong message, and that the sales don't matter. But then I'm running a topic on sales. Like I said, this is not taking a shot on Dawson. Every single one of you have had a bad week. I've had more bad weeks than all of you. But I want to be in a position, this is the culture you guys want to have between each other. I want to create an environment that if I'm putting Dawson in a tough situation, Dawson doesn't feel shame to come up to, in this case, you, because again, Danny was going to run this. Situations happen. Danny could run it. He did 13. But Danny was in orientation. So he couldn't run it. So this is where you're going to have to like, okay, let's come up with something. And well done. You did something. You just did it wrong. So we're just going to correct it. And Dawson, you want to have an environment where Dawson can say like, hey, I am due so hot. I shouldn't be running this. You want an environment in where that's okay to say to a cross line without leaking into negatives. You get it? Number one. Number two, you want to have another environment where if my name's not on, because let's say Dawson is usually on because he's usually consistent, and now my name's not on, I want to also have an environment in which I'm not offended by that. I'm like, well, I want to have somebody better, maybe somebody new or a different voice. Maybe I did qualify, but my name's still not on, okay? Or even an environment where like, maybe the name is wrong. Maybe you're in the room right now and you're like, well, Dawson should be, like maybe you did very well and you're like, it should be me. Like in this case, Juan could say like, it should be me, but somebody that also did bad. You see how that can create a gossip? You want to have an environment where that doesn't happen. Where you look at it and be like, well, there's trust. There's probably a reason why somebody decided for Dawson to be, and I'm not the judge of that. I did do better sales, but I'm sure Danny has a great reason. And in this case, we didn't. But you want to have that attitude and you want to have that environment. Does that make sense? But I want you guys, I don't want to be talking about this again. Like when you run your office and when you do your thing, when you run your teams here, especially if you're having a rougher week, like in this case, many of you. I've had more weeks. This is not about making you feel any way for having a bad or a better week. This is about like, when you have bad weeks, you still want to grow, correct? Yes. You still want to maximize, you want to minimize the damage, right? You had a bad week, okay. Remove your ego, okay, and let whoever that has fruit speak to your people, especially if they're newer than you. It sends even a better message. I want her to speak because she's new. What message does that send? It sends a message that we don't care about seniority because we don't. It sends a message that you can be recognized and be running the place as new as you are. It sends all kinds of great messages, doesn't it? Yes. So you want to have that mindset, and I need you guys to help me here. Nobody. I see sometimes, for example, in the morning, we come in here, some of you guys are in here, some of you guys like Juan, typically, because there's a new guy comes in early and you're in that room. Or sometimes there's a person in there teaching a system in that room to a new person. And again, like I said, I'd rather everybody be in here, but it's okay. Sometimes things happen. Again, things are going to happen. Danny's in orientation. Claire's busy. I got to do an interview. So the rule is always like the person speaking, especially to protect me if I had a bad day, the way I maintain that is I got to have someone speaking that has fruit and has easy to see fruit. Well, Richard, I did well 2 weeks ago. Okay, again, it's got to be easy to see. It's got to be something that I can, it's there. If Danny has a bad week this week, I don't care. No one cares because everyone knows he's still good. Agree? Yes. If you have never had a good week and then you have a good one and then another bad one, maybe not. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Because we're like, maybe you could say like, well, Richard, you let Danny do it and Danny had a bad week and had a good week 2 weeks ago, like me. I had a good week 2 weeks ago, like me. And I had a bad week this week and I'm not speaking and Danny's speaking. Well, Danny has 87 weeks before you that were good. And so that's why do you see where I'm thinking here? Mm-hmm. Visible fruit and easy. If you don't know, you're not sure, what do? You check. You check upline, you send a Slack, you can send always to me. Sometimes it's better to not run a workshop. There's no workshop. If there's no one to speak, there's just no workshop. Would you want no workshop or a workshop run by the person that's going to ruin it? No workshop. And if I have bad fruit, I'm going to ruin it. No matter what. And even if I don't, I'm going to I can say the right things even though I know I did bad. I could still say the right things. I know you know what to say. But again, I'm sending a message that it doesn't matter how I do. And that is where this business, your office will die. When like people, they're like, it doesn't matter as long as you say the right things. That's not true. It doesn't matter, honestly, as long as you do the right things. We don't need workshops if everybody does the right things. Does that make sense? Okay. So anyway, does this make sense? Yes. Can you guys help me here? Yes. I don't want you to be judging machines, okay? Have an environment in which like we all know it's okay to have a bad week. Some of you guys are more skilled than others at the field. That doesn't mean at all how you're going to be as an owner. I think Ben is going to be a great owner. And my boy's going to have to talk at some point. You know, we're working on that. My boy's going to have to open his mouth. But because you're going to have to be on Zooms, run a call, do an interview, things like that. But, you know, that's his battle. That doesn't mean anything how you're doing in sales right now, how your office is going to be. Now that it helps, it does create some help. Okay, you can train some high rollers, it always helps. You can't suck completely. But it's very important that you know how to think and how you run places. Always the person with fruit. Think about it. That is what the world doesn't do. That is what past jobs don't do. They don't do this. They always have the senior person speak, no matter what. This is what separates us. Melanie, wherever she is, she's not even in here. That's how new she is. If she did 13 and Zach did 12, or Zach did 15, but the new girl did 13, who am I having speak?
New girl.
Why?
Because she's new.
Because she's new. It's even, I'm sending more better messages. Could he speak?
Yes.
Yeah. I might have them together. Hey, prep something, you know, teamwork. Collaborate. Do some collaboration. What works for you, what works for me? Let's split it. Perfect. Now they're friends. Great. But I might just have the new girl because everybody's like, all the other new people, they're like, wow, how long you been here? And I'm asking that aloud. Hey, Melanie, quick question. How long you been here? I know how long she's been here. What do I want? I want everyone else to hear it. I've been here for 8 days. Oh, and you're running okay. So what does a winner new person do when they see that?
That can be me.
They're like, growth. Growth is true. It's true what they say. You see what I mean? All of that happens because of how you decide to make one decision. And again, one workshop that Dawson did today, it's probably fine. It's probably fine. It's not about the quality of the workshop. As a matter of fact, I trust Dawson more than most people. It's just the overall intent and with the culture, what you can do with these decisions. This is what most people miss this. I need you guys to think, okay? And again, if you get to a thinking spot and you are stuck, ask. I got stuck many times, and then I ask, and normally, as long as you keep reading and you keep talking to your upline, you'll eventually won't have to ask. You'll just. Does that make sense? Okay. I'm looking at Alexa and making sure she's listening here. Okay, the last thing is something that I heard as a quote that I think we need to use better. Okay, so now how do you do this? How do you train people better? So here's one thing I heard that I think it's Steve Wynn. So if you guys go to Vegas, one of the top 3 hotels in Las Vegas is called The Wynn. I'm not going to write it. W-Y-N-N. Okay? If you've never heard of him, I mean, he owns a hotel in Vegas, so he's doing better than you and me. What's that?
It's a nice hotel.
You been? It's a very nice hotel. It's you cannot book a restaurant at the hotel. It's all booked like for a year. You can't book like a dinner tonight. It's crazy. Anyway, what immediately gets rewarded gets repeated. So here's my challenge for you guys as leaders and trainers. You know, what behaviors? And you should all have your list. You should have your list that you teach for years and years to your office. Okay? What behaviors do I want to be repeated? What attitudes do I want to train in the field? Do I want to just train sales? Like, do I want people, you know, I heard the other day I heard a parent say, hey, you don't tell your kid, Brent. I said, hey, he saw somebody tell their child, like, hey, you're so smart, you're so smart. He was like, hey, stop saying that. Stop saying that to the kid. You never want to tell your kid, you're so smart. Why? Because then they have a challenging situation and they approach it thinking they're so, and they fail. What does that do to their confidence? That's why people don't have confidence, because their parents been telling this crazy stuff since they're literally 1. You tell your kid, oh, you're so smart, look at you, how smart you are, you're so smart, so intelligent. Now the kid fails at something and they're like, wow, I'm a smart person, I failed. And then that chips off at my confidence. That chips off at my confidence. Then you find the 14-year-old that needs to be pleasing everybody because they don't have any confidence. Does that make sense? It's because their parents are like, you're so smart, you're so smart. Well, instead, you could, again, what behaviors you want them to repeat. He's like, hey, instead of telling the kid, you're so smart, you tell the kid, well done. The reason you did so well is because you practice so much. Keep practicing. Keep practicing, right? Is that a behavior I want people to do, to keep practicing? Yeah. Hey, stay practicing. Practicing is why you're so good. I think you should keep practicing. Keep practicing. Well practiced. Practice again. Something so small, right? But can create such a different results. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I want to tell people, in my head in the field, and you guys should fill this up better than me. I want people to get used to no's, because are people going to last if they're good at sales? We throw them in expansion on Frontier, they do 1,000 sales, but then they get wrecked when they go to somewhere normal. We don't want that, right? So do you really want to train people to get only high fives when they get a yes? No. What behaviors do I want in the field? Think about a dog. Has everybody here been in the field with a freaking dog? Like, who's a dog that you're like, damn, this person's unstuck. It's a freaking dog. Say it. Who is it?
Danny, Melanie.
Danny, Melanie. Melanie? Who's Melanie's a dog. Oh, nice. I didn't know. Who else? Mo, right? You probably go in the field with Mo. I've never been in the field with Mo. But I wouldn't want to embarrass him. But if I was in the field with Mo, he's probably, after every no, he probably gets even better. He probably gets a little high from it. He's like, right? Because he's trained his brain because he knows there's so many no's. If he gets discouraged, it's bad. So I want people to get good at getting no's. Agree? Yes. Are people that do you want people to do 3 sales a day? Agree? Yes. Are they going to get a lot of no's to get to 3 yeses a day? Yes. So I want people to get rewarded when they do no's, when they get good no's, right? So hey, one thing I want to do is, again, this is the sentence, it's key. The key word is immediately. We don't have time to do that all day on people. What gets rewarded immediately gets repeated. So it's super important that you're paying attention. When people teach a system, boom, high five immediately. When people get a no and they move on quickly to the next door, boom, high five immediately. When people get, again, think about what do you want them to repeat? What do you want them to repeat? Get another no, right? You want them to keep going with a great attitude. Every time you see these behaviors, boom, high five, great job. High five, great job. High five, great job. And I'm just, again, rewarding things immediately that I want them to repeat. So my challenge for you guys is you should maybe think about this in the car or prepare it at night. What's a list of behaviors, maybe start with just 3, 4, or 5, that you want people to repeat that turns people into leadership? What are some things that leaders do very well all the time? Even things like showing up early. Should we compensate people for showing up on time? No, it's their job. Yes, we shouldn't. But there's nothing wrong with giving someone a high five. Dude, high five. Great job being always early. Boom, high five. Because what gets rewarded immediately gets repeated. And I want people to repeat right things. I want people to get a bunch of no's and run. When somebody gets a no and they sprint to the next door, I know I have a winner. When they get a no and they like milk it and receive it and kind of like pray on it, I'm like, ooh, this is going to be a tough new person. I need a person that I can train. As soon as they get a no, they usually, when they're brand new, they turn around to kind of check with you, like, what did I do wrong? And then it's your opportunity, but you did nothing wrong. You're going to get 50 more of these. You did great. Quickly go get another one. And when you can train the time of reaction down to 0, where it's like, no, and you're like, and by the time they say no, your foot's already there, like Derek Jeter, because you're just running to first base already. You're just sprinting already. You're like, come on, say no so that I can just leave. Boom. And you sprint to the next door. You knock again. You get another no. High five, high five, high five. Because that person is the person that finds the most yeses. It's the person that's excited to get the no's. These are behaviors I want rewarded. And these are behaviors I want to teach my people how to think. I want to teach them to think like this. Because they've been trained all their life that no's are bad, yeses are good. And yeses are good, no's are bad. But in order to get the yeses, you got to get the no's. So it's a way to trick your brain. Does that make sense? What gets immediately rewarded gets repeated. So ask yourself, what am I rewarding, and is it immediately? You realize how it doesn't say like, what it gets immediately rewarded gets repeated unless I'm a lady and I have been here longer and I don't have a lot of confidence. It doesn't say that, does it? Anyone can apply this. You guys can all apply this right now. It doesn't matter how long you've been here, who's in your car, who you're working with. What counts is that you reward things immediately. Cool? Let's make a list. And I would challenge you for today. Reward them to get no's and say, hey, look, we're training people to be freaking dogs here. And throw a little bark in there, woof, woof. And be funny with it. I say, we're training people to be freaking savage animals. People with their confidence does not fit in this car. That's who we're training. So you're going to go get another no and another no. And I hope it gets another 10 degrees warmer. And you're just bringing challenges to them so you can immediately reward the attitude, and boom, and boom, and boom. And by the time, in 2 months, we are going down to 80 degrees and they have a little bit of bigger confidence, they're going to annihilate the field, and you're going to be building leaders, not no others. And these are the workshops you run with people. You don't just run the 5 steps. When you promote a new level 1 on your team, you sit them down and you teach them how to think, and then you teach them how to build leaders. You teach them how to think, and you teach them how to reward people. And you give them a book, and you give them 3 podcasts from school. You don't just teach them the freaking pitch. Do you get it? Do you get it? All right. I would ask you if you have any questions, but I don't have time, so I appreciate it.